Happy to see you
Okay,
too.
great. So I'm very excited about this. I mean, like I've been getting a lot of positive feedback since I put this
Okay.
event out there. Everyone has been excited, and I think that mental health is something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I I say something. I say sometimes when you go to the hospital, you say I have malaria. You can just say, "Oh, I have malaria." But when you're down and you're like, all of those things are happening to you, you can't really say, oh, I'm depressed or oh, I'm sick or, there's no adjective that is not attached to shame when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to mental health. So,
Mm-hmm.
this is a very, very important topic and
Yeah.
I'm very excited. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm very excited to see everyone here. I have with me Amanda Hieme. Amanda is a lead clinical psychologist at NDD. Amanda, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Our meeting is just a perfect example of why it's important to network when you go out at events.
Exactly. And
Because
why is
we
it
literally
important to
just
go outside?
exactly why it's important to go outside. Because we're just literally just having fun. And then I didn't know that in months from now we're going to be doing this.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so great. Let's just go right into the topic because I know everyone is excited and they want to hear what you have to say. Thank you everyone for joining. Please
Thank
stay tuned.
you.
Today we're talking about protecting protecting your mental health while building a personal brand. So
Mm-hmm.
Amanda, from your experience, I know that I've watched a lot of your programs and stuff. So, what are some of the challenges, the common challenges that you feel that people face when it comes to building a personal brand? Like, for example, comparing themselves to others, burnout, fear of judgment. So, what are like examples, and also from your experience as a therapist, because I'm sure that one or two of these people reach out to you. What are some of the experiences, yeah, that the challenges that people face?
Okay. I think one of them that you've mentioned is actually the most common one, which is comparing yourself to other people, comparing yourself to
Mm-hmm.
other people who are either more established than you are or established in a different industry, but in a way that you want to
Yeah.
be. And another one is people even understanding who they are, because if you're going to build a personal brand would work when it's authentic to you as an individual, not when you're trying to create a brand that you think everyone will,
Like.
find easy to consume. Yeah, like copy and paste. Oh, it's working for so and so person, so it will work for me. So sometimes you have people who try to imitate other people's brands because they see this is what is working. So if it's working for A, it should work for B as well. So lack of self-awareness and understanding of who you are, and then also comparing yourself to other people, not giving yourself the grace and the patience to know that it takes time to build a personal brand. Then we have people who struggle with like self-doubt. A lot of
Mm,
self-doubt is very paralyzing, and with it is anxiety. So not believing in the brand that you are, and that's something that I've gone through as well in my own journey. Not believing in your brand, not knowing that you have the capacity to move things, not trusting in your own knowledge, your wisdom, your skills, and so you doubt yourself, you question yourself, you criticize yourself very harshly. And because of that, you don't even put your work out there. So there's a lack of self awareness, a lack of authenticity, a lot of self doubt and comparison with other people, a lack of patience, and then lack of proper guidance. That feeling
mm,
of, okay, since I'm the one starting this whole personal brand, I know myself better than anybody does. Who do I need to ask for help? I don't need to ask anyone. I can do this all by myself. And because we have so many tools available to us, like Instagram, YouTube, where
yeah.
people are sharing
Mm-hmm.
tips,
Mm-hmm.
you also don't understand the fact that you need other people to sort of guide you to create your own unique brand. That's not to say that all these helpful tips are not useful, but you also still need like that one-on-one consultation or to even ask for help to be able to build this personal brand for yourself. So these are some of the things that I find that people struggle with. There's a long list, but the major
Yeah.
ones that come up are these ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you say lack of self-awareness because I think in my own journey too, that's something that has also affected me
Mm-hmm.
because I remember I used to be this person that whatever is trending, I want to do. So when somebody is doing something and it's working, that's what I want to do. And after a
Mm-hmm.
while, I find myself abandoning it because I'm like, oh, it's not working for me. And then I go through that whole phase of rejection and not
Mm-hmm.
feeling good enough. And then, the thing with accepting ourselves as well, which you talked about,
Mm-hmm.
because how do you expect people to accept you when you don't
If you
accept
can't
yourself?
accept yourself, yeah.
Exactly. Like I always say something that when I post something, it has to be something I like. So even if it's not, getting the traction that I wish it will get, as far as it's something I like, something that I
Mm-hmm.
can watch, I'm excited about, then it's something I'm going to do. So I think, it's very profound, like, especially
Yeah.
just finding yourself and finding your voice. Because,
Yep.
and again, patience as well, because there are people who have been in this journey for years, and you have to
For
stick with what
years.
you know. Like, stick with
Mm-hmm.
what you know, stick with what you know, and be patient and evolve.
Yep.
That's actually very beautiful.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what are, like, as a for your patients, what are some of the tips for handling anxiety and not achieving traction and the result that you desire? What are some of the tips that you usually share? And I want to also digress to 9 to 5 as well, entrepreneurship. There's
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship and there's entrepreneurship, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not different for either way. It's not
Mm-hmm.
different. The depression and the anxiety and whatever it is you face is not different for an entrepreneur and for an entrepreneur. It's just
Mm-hmm.
different locations
Yes,
or different
of your own
structures.
shape. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So when it comes to dealing with anxiety for a lot of my clients, I think the first thing that I always, or rather, the first thing I always tell them is first you need to ground yourself and be present because you cannot deal with anxiety if you're constantly in your mind. And this is
Mm.
what's common with people who struggle with anxiety. Anxious people are either trapped in the past, worrying
Mm.
about things that they can't change, or scared of the future, worrying about things that they don't have control over. So in both situations, one thing that's common is that you're helpless. You can't change any of that. But they
Mm-hmm.
ignore what is going on in the today. That is what is happening right now, which is the thing they have control over. So when we start doing the work on, treating anxiety disorders or even helping people manage anxiety better, the first thing that I work with them to do is how to ground yourself. That is how to help yourself be present in your own life, in your day-to-day life, in your own body, especially because there are people that they don't even know what it feels like to be in their body. Like if you ask them, what do you
Mm.
feel? What's your body feeling like now? They can't even explain it to you. They don't have the words to be able to communicate it because they're not familiar with listening to themselves. So the first thing we do is do that work of grounding exercise. So I teach them some deep breathing exercises. Um, we also practice some grounding techniques like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What can you see? What can you hear? What can you taste? So that you can learn to be calm. And then encouraging them to
Mm-hmm.
practice this in their daily life, not waiting for when things are really crazy or you're panicking for you to start utilizing these tools, but to make it something you're familiar with by just doing on your regular day-to-day activities. Then when we then talk about, grounding yourself and learning how to be calm, then we move to the mind section. And the mind section is then thinking about what are your thoughts? What are the
Mm.
thoughts that are causing you to be anxious? What are these anxious thoughts and what are they saying to you? Typically, people's response to anxious thoughts is let's run away from it. Let's find a way to suppress it. Let's find a way to not discuss it. Let's find a way to push it away because they believe that those anxious thoughts are holding them back or causing them to not move forward. But what they don't see is that because you're not addressing these anxious thoughts, they are still appearing and manifesting in different ways in your life, and they're influencing the decisions that you're making, even though you're not conscious of it. So your thoughts don't go anywhere. If you're saying, I'm going to forget about it, you might forget about it, but it doesn't mean that it has forgotten about you. So it's going to be coming up in other ways. You find yourself being a little bit snappy, you're impatient, you're stressed all the time, you're not sleeping well, you're not breathing well, you're having health issues, and you're wondering, like, what's going on? But it's all these suppressed and repressed emotions are trying to find ways to draw your attention to them so that you can process it. So when we do the work of learning to, be present, then we have to
Present.
do that work of learning to manage your thoughts. And you cannot manage what you can confront.
Mm-hmm.
So it is then to confront these thoughts. What are these anxious thoughts saying to you? What are they trying to point out to you? Because I tell people that anxiety is healthy. It is your
Mm.
body's healthy response to stress and to newness. If you walk into a place you've never been to before, you're going to feel anxious. If you're writing an exam, you're going to feel anxious. If you're going for a date for the first time, you're going to be anxious. If you're going out
Mm-hmm.
alone, you're going to be anxious. But then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a problem when, even though you have spent time in that anxiety filled space or you have left that anxiety filled space, that you're still feeling anxious. And that even there are
Mm.
no triggers around you, but you're still feeling anxious. That's when it becomes a problem. So what anxiety does is pretty much just helps. It's like a survival mechanism. It just helps you think to yourself like, okay, wow, I'm here. What if there's something that's on my teeth? What if I'm not properly prepared for this paper? It pushes you to action. So it helps you be more aware of your surrounding. It helps you
Yeah.
protect yourself better. It helps you make better decisions because now you're thinking about the worst case scenario. But then it
Yeah.
can be unhealthy when in every situation, even the ones that don't require you to be anxious, you are now processing worst case scenario. So when we sit
Mm-hmm.
down and talk about it in therapy, what we do is try to now separate what is excessive and what is real. And by doing that, we then talk about these anxious thoughts you're having and where are they coming from? Is it from something you
Mm-hmm.
heard? Is it from an experience you've had? Is it because you feel out of control in this particular situation? And then we do the work of reframing your thoughts around that particular situation. And then there are assignments of, okay, when you're there, try and practice these tools, breathe better, talk differently to yourself, and then we'll see how it goes. So it's really a mind and body work that we do to help clients manage the anxiety. And each person has a unique reason as to why they are anxious, which is why I'd say, one thing doesn't fit all. Some people might be anxious about B,
Mm-hmm.
another person anxious about A. So I encourage
Yeah.
people to like speak to a professional who can be able to cater to the specific issues that you have. But off the top, if no one has access to a professional, I'd say work on grounding, work on being mindful and present, practice meditation, and then confront your thoughts. And you can do that through conversations with your friend. You can do that even through conversations with yourself, like opening up and speaking out loud and saying, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or even just
Mm-hmm.
journaling as well, having that space to write about your feelings. So you pour everything out and it gives you the space to look at things a lot clearer than you
Yeah.
would have if you just had them all just muddled up in your head. So those are some of
Mm-hmm.
the tips that I use to help clients who are struggling with anxiety.
Thank you, Amanda. This
You're
session
welcome.
is very insightful. Like, I'm actually learning a lot and I'm enjoying it. So if you're just
Yeah.
joining, we're talking about protecting your mental health while building a personal brand. And two things that you said to me that you said are very profound. People not feeling safe within themselves, like emotionally safe. And I think I never really understood how profound that was until recently. You know,
Mm.
you talk about feeling safe in a relationship, like when you're feeling safe with your partner. I never really understood what that meant until recently when I, found out that I wasn't able to self-regulate. That's something I
Yeah.
was never really able to do. Like, a lot of people do not know how to self-regulate. So when things just get, chaotic, I can't deal. I
Yep.
want to talk to somebody. I
Yep.
start having anxiety. I start overthinking. I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about possible everything that could go wrong. So
Oh,
like
yeah.
being able to self-regulate and talk to yourself and identify the emotion is
Mm-hmm.
very important. And I like
Yep.
how you say that why people face anxiety is because they're either living in the past or in the future.
Mm-hmm.
You're not actually in the present. Because I remember even at work, this affected me last year, because 2023 was a very chaotic year for me. Like, there was a lot of toxicity happening around me. So like, as soon as that ended, because I did not deal with a lot of the emotions from 2023, I
Mm-hmm.
took it into 2024, where there was like a
Ooh.
change in management. There was, everything had changed, but I was responding to the situation around me as my 2023 self, instead of actually
Yeah.
responding
To
to
where you
what
are
the change
presently.
exactly. So
Yep.
I think it's very profound. Like, dealing with anxiety and feeling safe within ourselves, and also, talking about situations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna, like, move to the next question. So what are some of the strategies to protect your self-esteem when your efforts don't yield immediate results? And I'm talking about entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs as well, because
Yeah.
I've been in this game for like 10 years. And sometimes I just go off the radar, because you do something over and over again, and you feel like you're not being seen, you feel like your effort is
Mm-hmm.
not being
Yeah.
validated, and it can be very exhausting, and you're just like, why am I even doing this? And you're seeing
Mm-hmm.
people who started before you, or maybe after you, they're doing well, and you're like, oh, but I know better than this person. And even at work, in entrepreneurship as well, when I feel like the Nigerian entrepreneurship, like Nigerian workspace, they thrive in the dynamic of bringing people down. I don't know, but
Yes,
a lot
we
of
do.
workspaces, they get a lot of gratification just knowing that you're not confident, because that's when they can prey on you and they can take advantage of your boundaries. So what
Mm-hmm.
would you advise? What are strategies and tips to protect your self-esteem?
So I'd say that first of all, as an entrepreneur, what you can do to protect your self-esteem is practice a lot of gratitude. Your work would not yield it would not yield results as quickly as you expect it to. I know, like, if I put myself for example now, someone who's young and upcoming might be looking at me and be like, oh my God, Amanda runs in Didi and it's such a good practice. I really want to be like her. I really want to, she's working so hard. I'm working so why am I not where Amanda was? I'm like, sis, it took me years. I started this when I was
Yeah.
24. I started when I was 24. I'm 32 now. That's
Oh
like
my
8 years
gosh.
of
Mm-hmm.
hard work that you
Mm-hmm.
put into it. And a lot of time with that work, you're not going to get recognized. Like people
Mm-hmm.
are not going to see the hard work you're doing until much,
Doing.
much, much later, until years later. So I encourage people that first things first is that if you're starting a business, be patient with yourself. Don't compare yourself to people who are better than you. Rather, observe what they're doing and take knowledge from that to know, does this fit what it is that I'm trying to build? And know that it's going to take time. If you're trying to build something that lasts, there's no need to rush into it because it's going to, if you want it to be there forever. So there's no point trying to make sure that you must get there fast and quick, except you have other intentions as to why you're doing your business. But if you want to build something that lasts, there's no need to hurry to get to that point. Be patient with
Mm-hmm.
yourself, be patient with your idea, be patient with your goals, and have goals that you can track, measurable
Yes.
goals that you can be able to look at it and be like, okay, at the beginning of the year, this is what I wanted to achieve, and this is where we've gotten to. Or at the beginning of the business, this is what I wanted to achieve, and this is where I've gotten to. So that really helps you feel as if, like, okay, even if I'm not meeting that very big goal that I wanted to meet, at least I
Mm-hmm.
can see the small steps that
Yeah.
I'm growing towards it. So have smart goals that you can use to measure and take time to sit in that. A lot of times, whenever we do great things, one even good things, we're just quick like, oh, I've done it, on to the next one. Oh, I've done on to the next one. And what is the next thing that's coming out of it? But if you're an entrepreneur, even an entrepreneur, any kind of person, if you quickly move from I've done something good, let's go to the next one, you're always going to feel tired, you're always going to feel burnt out, and you're always going to feel like I need to keep doing more, I'm not doing enough, I need to be doing more and more and more and more. Meanwhile, if you had taken that step back and just being like, wow, I really did the damn thing today, I achieved this, I achieved that, it opens up your mind to be able to see other things and other pathways. So I'd say to you that first of all, don't compare yourself, be patient and know that it takes time to build something of quality, and then also set smart goals for yourself that you can measure and sit in the gratitude of it. If you move towards more, 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 you're going to be exhausted. So make out time to be grateful for the little steps and strides that you make, because even in doing that, there is wisdom to be seen. When you step back and see, okay, I'm actually really good at this thing that I've done, or my goodness, I can't believe I actually met this target.
Mm-hmm.
It opens up your mind to other things that you can possibly do. But if you're just thinking about, okay, I've met this target, what's the next thing I should be doing? You're not looking at your strength and then using that to make a decision about how you're going to move forward. So taking that time to be grateful and to reflect is very important as
Important.
a business owner. Then the next thing is have a support system, not just a support system in terms of your friends, but have a support system in terms of like your directors, your other managers that work with you, and even your colleagues who are in the same industry. I would not
Mm-hmm.
have Didi where it is today purely by my own effort. It would not even happen. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
work that has been put into building the practice has been as a result of other people giving me insight and advice. Times when I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and there are times when I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. There are times when I felt like a failure. I'll call the accountant and be like, guys, am I shit? Am I really bad at my job? Because why am I not getting the numbers? Like, look at my mates. We also have business together. They're all making this amount. They're doing this. And my accountants are always there to just reassure me, like, Amanda, at your own pace, and that don't look at what other people are doing great at. Look at what you've done. So they always bring me back to see all the things I've done so well. I have my other director, Anakabo, as well. He always does that. Every time we have a quarterly meeting, he sits with me, we review what we've done in the quarter. But then he also reminds me, like, remember when you started this? Remember when this was this? You've done well. So all of these things really helps me feel like I'm not alone. it helps me also have places where I can run to seek help, and also opens up my mind to possibilities. And I don't just receive advice from like my colleagues and my equals, I also from my staff as well. Because there are
Mm-hmm.
times when we'll be having team meetings and a problem will come up, and I just tell them, my guys, I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know what I don't know how to solve this problem. I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to do. Help, just figure it out. Help me out. Like what ideas do you guys have? Because I'm lost. And I strongly believe that I've hired intelligent people, and I'm not just hiring them for them to do that work that I've hired
Mm-hmm.
them for, but to also help me grow the business. So I trust their opinions. So when I open the floor, everyone's coming up with great ideas, and I'm just like, yeah, let's try that. Let's try it. Do you want to take ownership of it? Let's try this. I don't have to do everything on my own. And that's also something that's so important that I want to tell entrepreneurs, is that you don't have to do everything by yourself. If you have to do everything by yourself, if you can't leave your business alone after like 3 years of
Failed.
starting it, and that business does not run without you, then
You failed.
what kind of structures have you put in place
Exactly.
in your
Mm-hmm.
automation and in
Mm-hmm.
your staff? So have a support system that is going to carry you because it gets difficult. There are times when work gets so hard, and I'll just be like, you know what? I'm not a 9 to 5er. I'm just going to shut down for the day. I'll find somewhere. I'll cry. I'll have a good, nice 30-minute cry. I'll like really cry my heart out. I'll sleep. I'll wake up, and then I'll continue the work. So make time to release, make out time for rest, because you need it. You cannot think
Mm-hmm.
clearly if
Mm-hmm.
you are constantly grinding,
Mm-hmm.
grinding, grinding.
Mm-hmm.
Your mind is going to get tired, your body is going to get tired, your soul is going to get tired, and it will be difficult for you to create from a place when you're empty.
Mm-hmm.
So start from the beginning stages of your business to infuse moments of rest and make it a priority in your business. And rest is important, going on leave is important, taking breaks is important. There is this culture in Nigeria where it feels like you can only get the best of people when you like wring out every
Exactly.
single drop. I
There's
think that
shame attached to rest in
yeah,
Nigeria.
yes, exactly. Like if you're resting, if you're relaxing, if you're taking time off, you are lazy, or no, no, no. I
Mm-hmm.
personally don't subscribe to that, because I know that human beings will give you the best of themselves if you
When
allow them the space to be
mm-hmm.
themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
having that balance of work is a place where you come to work, but it's not, it's just a part of your life. It's not your whole life, has been very helpful because my team works well and I work well. And I think the evidence of the practice is obvious. Like we're working well because there is that work-life balance that we
Mm-hmm.
try as much as possible to respect everybody's leave and respect everybody's time off. So start it from the beginning, and it starts with you as the entrepreneur. Like you have to be the one to make this a part of your structure. So take time off, infuse leave days into your calendar. You don't have to wait
Mm-hmm.
until your practice is really big before you start to put in all of these things. You
Rest.
start from when
Mm-hmm.
you're young, so that it already is a part of the culture before you get
Mm-hmm.
older. So rest
Mm-hmm.
is important. So rest, gratitude, a support system. Don't compare
Yeah.
yourself to people. Be
Mm-hmm.
patient. Give yourself
Mm-hmm.
grace, and then go to
Mm-hmm.
therapy as well. Because as a founder, you need therapy too. And it's not even just therapy because there's something wrong with you. No, it's therapy because you're doing something hard. Like
Mm-hmm.
being a business owner in Nigeria is difficult.
Girl.
It is difficult. The challenges you
Everything is
face,
working against you.
everything is working against you. Like time is working against you, staff is working against you, government policies are working against you, internet is working against you. Sometimes just even sending out an email can be so difficult that it sets your
Exhausting.
timeline back by
Mm-hmm.
like 2 weeks. There's
Mm-hmm.
so many things
It's
going
very
on. And
triggering.
yes, very triggering. And even at that, as an individual, when you run a practice or a business, you also start to learn things about yourself. Like, what is your relationship with power? What is your relationship with money? What is your relationship with people? What type of leader are you? Are you the right person to be leading the people, or should somebody else be doing that? So
Mm-hmm.
parts of
Mm-hmm.
yourself also are revealed
Mm-hmm.
from doing this work. So it helps to have a therapist that you can come and talk to and check in and be like, oh, I feel this way. I've been thinking this way. I don't know if I'm such a good person. I'm struggling with communication. Because sometimes even your team members can be just associating with them can make you insecure. Like you
Yes.
see sometimes where you will hire someone who's much more efficient than you are, more on point on their job, more, and they're holding you accountable. and then you're starting to feel threatened. Like your ego then comes up, and you're just like, how can you tell me this? How can you tell me that? Like
Yeah,
you want to
true.
prove you're the boss. You want to
Mm-hmm.
prove because they've
Mm-hmm.
touched a very sensitive part of you. And I've
Mm-hmm.
witnessed that before, even for me as a person. So if you're not the kind of person who has the wisdom to like take a step back and reflect before you respond. If
Mm-hmm.
you notice this about your behavior, what would
Mm-hmm.
help you is just going into therapy and being able to say, okay, I've learned and noticed this thing about my character, but I just don't know how to
How
deal
to?
with it. Can
Mm-hmm.
you help me? Or I am burnt out and I don't know how to take care of myself. How can you help me? So having a regular therapy sessions is also important for your mental health as an entrepreneur. So take care of yourself, rest, gratitude, staying in the joy, not just always running to the next best thing. Some of the tips are very helpful to manage as an entrepreneur. Yeah. And it also
Wow.
applies to as an entrepreneur because an
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur is just an entrepreneur in a nine to
In
five.
a,
So
in a structure,
this, yes, in a
in a
structured
enterprise
context.
structure.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the same thing works for you.
I
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Like this session has is just so like the questions. I just asked one question and then we're going into different realms. And I'm like, oh wait, oh that's me. Oh wait. Adora, thank you very much. Adora says, I think that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Talking out loud work to myself works for me. Great. Adora is also an entrepreneur. Please feel free to drop your comments and to ask your question in the comment section and we'll
Yeah.
definitely take them. I'm very
Yes.
excited about this session and I totally agree. I think that that gratitude is very important because I was saying to myself how I felt like last year I was a failure, I didn't do much, and then I just wrote my gratitude list, and it was so mind blowing
Yep. About how
how
much
I
you've
did.
achieved.
Bro, like I did a lot of new things last year. Like a lot of things that I'm doing right now started
Mm-hmm.
last year, but it seemed so little. But just writing it down made it easy for me to
To see it.
appreciate it. And
Yep.
then also, you talked about how easy it is for us to want to move to the next big thing, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that kind of keeps us in a cage because that used to be me as well. I
Yep.
do not take time to appreciate the moment, so I'm thinking, what's the next big thing, what's the next big, and when the big thing now happens I don't even appreciate it because I'm always on the, yeah,
Next
on
big
the,
thing. Next big thing.
exactly,
Exactly. Yep.
exactly. It just makes it very easy for you to take things that you have for granted. It
Mm-hmm.
makes it very easy for you to take everything you have for granted, and then
True.
the support system as well from your staff.
Very
Leadership,
important.
leadership. First of all, I always say this: for you to lead, you have to lead yourself as a person. You
Mm-hmm.
have to lead yourself, and how you lead yourself shows up in how you
You
lead
lead
other
other
people.
people. True.
Exactly. And
True.
leadership is service as well.
Mm-hmm.
So being a leader takes a lot from you as a person, whether you're an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur. And you're right, you meet people who their egos are so big. How do you handle that? You meet
Mm-hmm.
people who want to be smart, who want to take your kindness for granted. Sometimes you have to be careful not to transfer aggression because
Yep.
I had a bitter experience when I started. My first hire tried to
Mm-hmm.
take me for granted, and I noticed for a while I was transferring that aggression, and I had to talk to
Aggression.
myself and be like, okay, this person is this person, but you don't have to change who you are just because this person took advantage. You
Yep.
just need to make your boundaries stronger, that's all.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yep.
I love it. I love this conversation. Please feel free to drop your comments, drop your questions. We'll definitely take them. So,
Yes.
how do you advise to confidently address maybe customers, clients, or people who try to encroach on your boundaries? Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because especially as an entrepreneur, I remember when I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I started in fashion actually. I used to make clothes and everything. And then I met
Mm-hmm.
this lady that I made some outfits for. She was already wearing the outfit, but she didn't want to pay me. So she started gaslighting me and saying the clothes are not good, yada 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 yada. Okay, return the clothes. She won't return it. Pay me my money, she won't pay me my money. And that kind of put me in a very bad place because even at that time I didn't even have structure, because
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that a lot of times they would pay me a certain amount because I didn't have a shop. I would take transportation to their office, so I never charged for consultation fee or anything. So at
Oh.
the end of the day, I'm burnt out, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
making extra money, I'm using the money back and forth to their houses. Like I was really taken advantage of. So
Yeah.
how would you advise us healthy ways to create strong boundaries
Mm-hmm.
just so that you're not taken advantage of in this
Yeah,
journey of personal growth?
situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the first thing would be to even examine your relationship with boundaries in your personal life
Mm,
before you even start to think about your boundaries in your professional life. But then again, there are some people that I've met that have such amazing boundaries in their professional life, but don't have it in their personal life. That's like an entirely different like structure. But there are people. So what I'll say is like, first of all, look at your relationship with boundaries and what are your like, are you the type of person to respect boundaries, or are you the type of person to
mm-hmm.
not respect them for others and for yourself? Because sometimes we don't even respect our own boundaries. Like
True.
people will cross our boundaries and we wouldn't even say anything about it. So I think
Mm-hmm.
looking at that can be a first step, and then looking at your boundaries professionally. What are the boundaries you want to have in your professional business? And some of it is learned really from experience, that if someone disrespects you this way, this is how you handle it. I remember there was
Mm-hmm.
a time, I think it was like 2 years ago. We had a client who came in. They had paid for therapy sessions like a year, 2 years ago. Yeah, it was about, I think they had paid for therapy sessions a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't utilize their therapy sessions. And we always send messages when you're signing up that your therapy sessions are only valid for 3 to 6 months, because we can't keep holding on to your sessions.
Yeah.
That's not, it's not good
Mm-hmm.
for business for
Mm-hmm.
us. So this client hadn't paid back. And then we had also like sent out messages to them like, oh, your sessions are about to expire. Please make sure that you use them before this time. The client didn't respond. And then the client then said, a year later, then came back and then called my practice and was then demanding that they had to get their therapy sessions. And then went from demanding to now threatening. And they were like, if you don't give me my therapy sessions, I'm going to go online and tell people that you take people's money and you don't give them therapy sessions. So we're going to put us online as, liars.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we
Mm-hmm.
did have we have materials to refute anything they would put online, because the evidence is there. We reached out to you, you signed a contract that said this is when it's supposed to happen, and da da da. But the thing is, when someone puts negative news about you outside, it's not everyone that's gonna fact check it. Some people are just
Exactly.
gonna write off of it because they don't like you. Some are just gonna write off of it because that's how headlines work. They just write off of whatever they have. So we dealt with it in house. We gave her what she wanted, but then we told her that after this session, we're not going to work with you anymore, because we
Never.
don't tolerate threats to our business.
Mm-hmm.
And then we learned from that, and we even put it online on our social media page, on our website, that we don't tolerate any disrespect towards the staff and towards the business. That whatever issues you have, we're not trying to fight you. We're actually working with you to resolve the problem. But if
Yeah.
you at any point in time get to the point where you threaten our business, then we're going to have to let you go and deny you service. We have the authority to do that. So these
Mm-hmm.
are one of those examples where you learn. Then there comes now the enforcement of the boundary. Another time last year, another client came in and was upset about something, and I can't remember what they were upset about, but they were upset, and then it resulted into, okay, they were late for their session and they missed
Yeah.
their session. And we told them, if you miss your session, you have to pay a rescheduling fee for it. And the client got upset, and then they were yelling at us, and then they were threatening us, and then insulting. And I don't play with my staff. Like, my staff knows I don't joke with them. If you disrespect my staff,
Yeah.
that's oh, that means
Customer is
I
not
don't
always right.
no, the customer is not always right.
Always
Sometimes
right.
they are
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful. And I know that too,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a customer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
this person said to disrespect. I we just told her, you know what? Thank you for wanting to work with us, but we have clear policies and rules against this. And so we will not be working with you. And it was a loss for us in terms of financially, because we had to refund the client. But then it was a gain for us, because now we've set a standard of respect, and it's made the staff in the company feel safer, because they know that nobody can come and talk
Talk
to them anyhow indeed,
to
because
me.
we
Mm-hmm.
would protect them.
Mm-hmm.
So things like, so you learn boundaries in your business from experiences. When people say things, when they have complaints, when they have issues, that's when you then respond to them in a healthy way. Like, okay, what are the structures I need to put in place to make this not happen? When people
Mm-hmm.
complain like, oh, this information you're providing, it was not available on on our website, da, 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 we apologize, we go on our website, we change it. So you can learn about boundaries and setting those boundaries from your business. But then setting boundaries in your business can so easily be done if you have your clear mission statement, your vision statements, and your values. People joke with these things, but I say to you, like, when it's time to make big decisions about your business, these are the things that really, really help guide and filter what is important. If your mission is that you want to be the best business in Omoroshoki, and someone is bringing you business that's going to take you, oh, why don't you go beyond Oweshoki? You should go to Jibowu and you should go to Lekki, and there's money there and da. It can seem very like flashy and nice and like that's the dream. Like let's get bigger, bigger, bigger. But you're moving away from your mission. Your mission is to provide the best of the best in Owenshoki. So people will come from wherever they are to come and find your business in Owenshoki before you can then begin to spread out. So know what your mission is so that you don't get easily derailed. Not
Yeah.
everything that is shiny and big is for you.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many proposals that have come to our practice of, or if you come on this platform, you'll be able to meet more people. Or if you come on this
Mm-hmm.
place, you're going to meet more. Or if you go down this path, you're going to make that right direction. You're going to move in the right direction. Or if you just, you're going to just, and there's always that promise of more. There's so much more you can do. You can get more money, more clients, more, more, more. But not everything that glitters is gold
It's
for you.
gold
It might be gold, but it's not the
for
right gold
somebody
for
else.
you.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you might
Mm-hmm.
then take it on and be like, oh my goodness, that's a great idea. Let's go into that path. And what it ends up happening is your business crushes and falls down because that is not what it was built for. So having
Mm-hmm.
your clear vision and your clear mission statement is very important. So you don't get derailed from the goal you're trying to achieve. Then
Mm-hmm.
secondly, having your value system. So what are the values of your business? The same way you as an individual, you have your own
Mm-hmm.
values, is the same way as a business, you also have to have your own values because
Mm-hmm.
that's what helps you make decisions about your practice. So now I'm trying to go on my business website to access like our values. So the things that we prioritize are like what's it called? We prioritize accessibility. So when we're looking at our work, whatever we're doing, we're saying how accessible is this for other people? If people are going to utilize this
Mm-hmm.
service, would they be able to
Mm-hmm.
get it? The second thing we
Mm-hmm.
look at is competence. Okay, so we want to make sure that everybody in the practice is constantly growing. We're constantly like learning how to be the best at our job. So we invest a lot in training. Or we're looking at confidentiality. Every year we're looking at how can we consistently improve our data protection. If we're looking at safety and responsibility, we always try to make sure that everyone is safe and respected. So your values in your business are the things that also help you know how to set your boundaries. So you know if someone then says, oh, okay, oh my goodness, we want you guys to do this and this and that and that. I'm just like, I'm sorry, but this goes against our value of confidentiality. If we go down this direction, it might make us more money, but then it would require us to compromise on our value systems. That's something that we just not want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
unless that confidentiality clause like is taken
Yeah.
care of, we're not going to
Mm-hmm.
go down that path. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of businesses always sacrifice that value protection for financial gain. And what
Mm-hmm.
ends up
And you end
happening
up
is
losing.
yes, and then the substance and the trust that people had in your business is
Mm-hmm.
then lost because what you
Mm-hmm.
told them you're trying to do and what you're doing are two different things.
Yeah.
So examine your relationship with boundaries in your
Mm-hmm.
personal life and your professional life. And then when it comes to your professional life, know what your values are, know what your mission is, know what your vision is, and let that be the thing that directs you. Of course, it can change over time, but focus on building a strong foundation with what you're starting with before you then begin to expand. So that when you build on top of what you have, it's not going to be on shaky legs. It's going to be on a very strong hold that
Mm-hmm.
everything else will balance well on top of it. Yeah.
No, excellent. Like I absolutely mind blowing. I feel like I'm going to say mind blowing throughout this whole entire conversation because it's actually very, insightful. And I think you're right. Even for me as a digital marketer, I have a digital marketing agency,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't take every business. I always tell my staff, like, oh, someone is trying to poach us, but I'm looking at it. I don't know if we should do it. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give it some time because, like you said, not every gold is for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, and me, I already can tell a client that will stress me or doesn't know what they
Mm-hmm.
want. So sometimes instead of offering you the full package, I might just offer consultation and end it there.
Yep.
Because I know that if I go a step further, this person is going to unnecessarily stress me because you
Mm-hmm.
don't know what you want. So I'm not going to be able to give you what you
Yep.
need. So it's better to just, end it there.
Yep.
And I think I'm gonna like touch a little bit into the entrepreneurship aspect because I think that that's another place boundaries really play out. So how would you advise people to be very firm on their boundaries, especially for people who deal with um I don't want to say attention, validation.
Mm-hmm.
How do you manage seeking validation from your superior, because I feel like that's one way to fall into that trap of going above your
Against,
boundaries, above and beyond. That's where they
yeah,
need to pull you in, because especially if you're always seeking validation, you want them to validate you, you want them to, because and the moment they notice that, you're a goner, because they would
honestly,
always
that's
withhold, the
validation
validation.
because they know
So
that they can
how
pull it out of you.
exactly?
Yes,
So how do you find your balance
yeah.
in that kind of situation?
Well,
Because I know, I'm aware that sometimes it's even our trauma that comes up in a lot of these situations.
yeah.
So how do you create strong, healthy boundaries and identify when you're seeking validation, and how do you control it and take your power
Yeah.
back?
When it comes to validation, there is internal validation and external validation, and these are the things that we need to actually balance. You cannot do without external validation because you need to know that I'm not the only one that sees what I'm doing as good. And you cannot depend on internal validation because then you just become egotistic. Because then how would you just believe that, well, you're the only one that believes that you are good? So you need people
Yeah.
to tell you, and you also need to tell yourself. So when I meet people that are constantly looking for validation outside, it's because they don't know how to validate themselves inside. So
Hmm.
they don't even know how to say to themselves, like, you're doing a good job. The only time they would believe that they're doing a good job is when somebody else tells them
Tells
that they're
them.
doing a good job. If nobody else tells them that, they're just gonna be like, how do I know I'm great? How do I know I'm good enough? How do I know that this is something that I'm worthy? So it also then goes back to that thing of self-esteem. Like, what is your self-esteem like? Do you have a low sense of self-worth? Because if you have a low sense of self-worth, it means, like, one, you don't believe in yourself, you don't trust in yourself, you don't trust in your capability, which takes me back to the first thing I mentioned, the challenge that people have, which is self-doubt. People don't know how good they are, or they don't even trust how good they are. And that connects to what you said, your trauma. And sometimes it might not even be trauma. It could just be you've just been raised in an environment where people just constantly put you down. Like,
Hmm.
nobody ever really told you, built your own healthy sense of self-worth. And because of that, you don't have a healthy sense of self-worth. So you're just used to, oh, I am only as good as everybody else in my life says that I am. I don't know what it means. Like, if I say that I'm good, how do I know that I'm good? So if you're a person who you realize, like, you're constantly looking at other people to tell you that you're good enough, or you're constantly seeking validation from people outside, then you need to now start to do that work on your self-esteem so that you can be able to see who you are and carry yourself with grace. Because if you have a healthy sense of self-worth and also have a strong internal validation system, when you're seeking external validation, if people are withholding things from you, you can just be like, thank you very much. I know what I'm worth, and I know that I'm better than this, and I know how to where the door is, and I'll walk
Hmm.
away. So you are even better at negotiating. You're better at handling power dynamics. You're better at moving through those cobwebs of bureaucracy and, all the games that they play in office space. Like, oh, this person's ego, that person's emotion, all those emotional minefields. You're better able to navigate them because you're not looking at them looking for someone to tell you that you're doing a great job all the time, but you're able to do it because you know deep down inside, I'm doing a great job. I can tell that I'm doing a great job. I don't need somebody else to tell me that all the time. And what makes that even better is that when people then validate you externally, it feels good. The external validation then becomes the
Okay.
icing on the cake. It's not the whole
Mm-hmm.
cake. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel like, yeah, I knew I was great. Thank you for seeing it too. I'm glad that this is happening. So it's you don't seek external validation to be the thing that makes you feel like you're worthy. You have to do that work of knowing that you are worthy
Mm-hmm.
first. And
Mm-hmm.
then the external validation is then what comes afterwards. So I'd encourage, like, if you're a person you find like you're so dependent on other people to tell you that you're good enough before you feel that you're good enough, you need to work on your self-esteem and start to build that love and respect and trust in yourself, and then see how that is going to change the way you negotiate and navigate your work relationships with other people. So that if when
Mm-hmm.
people are even crossing your boundaries and trying to do you anyhow, or they're saying, oh, do you want to do this work? It's 8 p.m. on the clock. You're off clock at 5, and they're calling you at 8 p.m. to do work. You're just gonna be like, no, I'm sorry, it's not good for me. I can't work at this
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
can't. I can't do
Mm-hmm.
this right now. Let us circle
Mm-hmm.
back on this tomorrow morning
Mm-hmm.
around 9 a.m. And you're not gonna do it. I say, well, be thinking to yourself, if I don't do it now, they'll not think I'm not working hard. They'll not think that I'm not really pulling my weight. They'll not think I'm not. No, no, no. when you know you're good, and it's not just in knowing that you're good, but you're also doing a good
Good
job, you'll be
job.
surprised how much people are willing to bend and twist to make you comfortable. You'll be so
Mm-hmm.
surprised. You'll be like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, fine. Just let us know when you're free, and we will work with your time. We
Mm-hmm.
will work with your availability. Tell us
Mm-hmm.
where you want to meet. We'll do that. We will bend for you because we know your worth. But if you're the type of person when they say bend, you bend and roll over, you're just like, oh,
You
don't
keep
worry,
doing
don't worry.
that.
I know how to talk to her to get
Mm-hmm.
her to do what. They will just
Mm-hmm.
find a way to, because they know what your weakness is. You just want someone to tell
Mm-hmm.
you that you're good enough. The moment
Yeah.
they can plug that in, then they will catch you. So work on yourself, and that would help you know how to navigate those external validation systems. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I really love the idea. I'm going to say mind blowing again because I just wanted to say that. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that internal validation. One of the things I really picked up is internal and external validation, and internal should exceed external, because I think that even with the way we grew up in Africa, our parents give us rewards for doing well at
Mhm.
school, rewards for washing your clothes, for doing this. There's a lot of reward system, and then
Yes.
you grow up with that mindset and you forget to actually validate yourself. I saw something the other day and it said, I am worthy of being just by being. So
Yep.
I don't need to do anything to earn love.
Yep.
I don't need to do anything to be worthy. I am
Yep.
just worthy of being
Simply
just
as
by
you are.
being.
Honestly,
Period.
true. Whenever I do
Just.
work with clients and we're
Mm-hmm.
doing the work on, I have clients who are doing work on like self-esteem and
Mm-hmm.
self-worth. That's the first
Mm-hmm.
question I ask them is like, why do you think you're worthy? And they'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm worthy because of this, and I've done that, and I've done this, and they'll just be trying to list all these accomplishments. And I'll tell them that that's not why you're worthy. I mean, that can add to
To,
your sense of
to
self-worth, but
yourself.
that's not. You
Mm-hmm.
are simply worthy, first and foremost, simply because you are. You deserve
Exactly.
dignity and respect simply
Mm-hmm.
because you are. And some people
Mm-hmm.
can't comprehend that. You're saying it's like telling them like, oh, so me as I am, without doing anything, I haven't achieved
I'm
anything,
just.
haven't I
Mm-hmm.
am just worthy as I am. I'm like, yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
You are worthy simply as you are.
As
Everything
you are.
else is an addition on top of it. So you are first of
Mm-hmm.
all born with a high sense of self-worth. You can then decide to either add to it or reduce it depending on how you act on it. So some
Mm-hmm.
people need to even first of all recognize that they have that sense of
Sense of.
self-worth before they
Mm-hmm.
now start managing it to then build it up. So yeah, I rhyme what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I also like believe that saying positive things to yourself also
Yes.
helps. Like you mentioned, I remember there was a day I was going to work and I was just thinking about all the things I have not done. Oh my God, I've not done. And I said, okay, what about the things that you did this week, Karen?
Mm-hmm.
And I started to list out all the things that I did. I'm like, whoa, I
I've
actually did
done a
a
lot.
lot. And
Yep.
it actually put me in a much better place. So I just decided, you know what, instead of always thinking about the things that I've not done, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
only focus on the things that I've done. So
Yep.
saying things, there was a time I was feeling like, oh God, I don't love myself. People don't love me. And I said, you know what, I give myself all the love that
That I
I
need.
need and I deserve.
Yep.
So the moment I said that, I didn't need anybody to love me or to tell me how great I am. I am awesome. I am
Enough.
great. I
Yep.
don't need you to make me feel enough. I am enough, and
Yep.
that's awesome. So, as we're rounding off, I'm going to ask two last questions. The first one is understanding and addressing the feeling of depression.
Okay.
So, like, when do you now know? Like, when you're sinking in. Some people are depressed and they don't know.
Yep.
So, how do you identify that? Ah, man, I'm really sinking into this depression thing. How do you identify?
I think that the first set of signs that really are very visible are typically the physical signs, and that's why I tell people to look out for. So, how are you eating? Are you eating well? Are you eating healthy? Or are you just looking at food that would make you feel good? Number one. Number two, how are you sleeping? Are you sleeping enough? Are you sleeping well? Are you struggling to go to bed or not? So how are you sleeping? And are you exercising? Or do you find it very difficult to get out of bed? Do you find it difficult to do things? Then we go into your mood, your emotions. Do you feel sad all the time? Like if you take yourself away from all the stimulation that happens in your daily life, like work and friends and family and going out and Lagos life, this, that, and the other. When you take yourself out of all of these things, what is the emotion that comes up for you when you're alone? Is it
Mm-hmm.
sadness? Is it
Mm-hmm.
tiredness? So if you're feeling
Mm-hmm.
things like sadness, you're feeling tired. And the tiredness you're feeling is not like I am tired in my body, like my body is physically tired. You feel tiredness that goes even into your soul. Like you feel
Mm-hmm.
like your heart, your mind,
Mm-hmm.
you are exhausted about it all. That's a sign. So you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're sad, you're angry. Deep down inside, even if the anger is not showing up, but there's just this seething anger inside of you, a deep sense of dissatisfaction with your life and with yourself. You're either gaining or losing weight rapidly without even trying. So maybe you're eating too much unhealthy food because you want to feel better, or you're not even eating at all because your
At
appetite
all.
is compromised.
Mm-hmm.
Then you find out that you're easily irritated. One thing I say is, my mom says, that's it's biting you
Mm-hmm.
in your body. Anytime
Mm-hmm.
someone says something small, like you're quick to react, and people are just like, why are you so on edge? Like, what's going on? Why are you so easily agitated? What's going on with you? Your family's complaining about it. Your friends are complaining about it. Even you two, you're noticing it, that things are just irritating you a lot more than they typically would. Then you start to feel a sense of like hopelessness, like, no, things are not going to get better. There's no point. There's nothing I can do to help myself. I'm just going to be stuck in this place all the time. Like, and everything is just bad. I'm sure this is my fault. This one is the reason why this is not happening is because of me. And this one too is my fault and it's my fault. Or you're even blaming other people.
Yeah.
Like, this is person doing this to me, and that person is, and this person is, and this, nobody loves me, nobody
Victim
cares about me.
mentality.
There
Mm-hmm.
is always just that self-hate and self-deprecation that goes on. Either other people are beating you down, or you are beating
Mm-hmm.
yourself down because of other people's lives. And that's when you then start to notice people nursing ideas of, maybe the world would be a better place if I wasn't here, if I wasn't even dealing with all of this. Like, why am I even here in the first place? There's no point to all
Mm-hmm.
of this. So that's when we
Mm-hmm.
notice gradual, like stepping into that place of sadness and misery. So when you start to notice this sign, that deep feeling of unhappiness, dissatisfaction with your life, that persistent feeling of sadness, sometimes you're just crying and there really isn't anything around you that's making you cry, but you're
Mm-hmm.
just feeling tears in your heart. Then you're crying, like you can see yourself crying, you're just sad. When you stay on your own, you're trying to escape your own thoughts. You find that you're drinking a lot or spending money a lot. You find it difficult to regulate your emotions, even in your body. You just don't know how do I even gather myself on the inside. If these feelings are happening, and it's not that it's one time, maybe you've been living with it for a very, very long time and it has become a norm for you, I'm happy to tell you that that's not a normal way to live life. And these are the
Mm-hmm.
moments when you need to start like reaching out to ask for help and be like, okay, I'm not doing okay, and I need more help than I ever said that I did not need. So, yeah.
Great. So the last question,
Mhm.
Tolani says here, are there any daily habits or routines you recommend for maintaining mental well-being while staying
Yeah.
productive?
Yep, there are. There are. Number one, sleep. Sleep.
Sleep. Sleep.
I say to you,
Say it for the people at the back.
sleep. That is, see, and not just sleep, sleep well. Go to bed at 10, wake up at 6. Sleep, my people, sleep. Don't let anyone shame you. If you go to bed at 9 p.m., you are a winner. If you're able to
Mm-hmm.
sleep at 8, you are a champion. Sleep. I like you, we underestimate how much sleep helps our lives. Sleep regulates your emotions, sleep regulates your mood, sleep regulates your thoughts, sleep regulates your hormones, sleep regulates your ability to remember things. It helps with your
Mm-hmm.
memory, your ability to even take in new information. It helps you be less groggy. It helps you stay less irritable. It helps you stay less tired. So it's not like when you sleep and then you wake up and you are still tired, it's because you are not sleeping well.
Mm-hmm.
You are not
Mm-hmm.
sleeping well. So if you have insomnia, this is a very good time to begin to address it. And you don't have to take over the counter drugs for this. There are habits in your day to day life that you can practice, like proper sleep hygiene to help you sleep. But please take your rest seriously. Sleep. The second thing is rest. And rest is not sleep. Rest is not sleep. Please,
Say
there are
it
two different things.
again. Exactly.
Sleep
Mm-hmm.
is sleep, rest is
Rest is rest.
rest. Yes, rest and sleep. I swear to you, whatever it is you want to do, like on your mind, it can wait another day. Because the
Exactly.
truth is that if you fell sick today and your leg is not working, your hand is not working, you have to be in the hospital. Trust me, all these things are so important to you that you feel like the day would not go right if you don't get it. The way it would just fade off of your to-do list, it would shock
You
you
won't
yourself.
care at
Honestly,
all.
you wouldn't. So rest. And by rest, I mean do things that restore you. And that's why I said it's not sleep. Sleep has its own thing. Don't think that because you are sleeping, you are resting. You are not. They're just sleeping. Do things that restore you. If you're a person who stays in Lagos, leave the city. Even if it's for a day, go on the train or enter a bus. Just go to a
Mm-hmm.
different part of Nigeria and maybe
Mm-hmm.
even come back the same day or the day after. But just open up your mind to something that refreshes you. So you're not only just always seeing cement, buildings, bad air, no trees, no, like go to a garden, go and paint, learn pottery, like do something. When you are going to go and hang out with someone, you say you want to take yourself out. Taking yourself out doesn't always mean going for food or drinks. Go and do something else. Learn how to knit, learn how to paint, do things that keep you still, you know, they keep you still and they keep you focused. Not
Mm-hmm.
Netflix all the time. Of course, Netflix can sometimes be a way
They
of
will
resting, but
rest,
not
yeah.
always.
But
Yeah, don't
screen
always.
time. Sometimes reduce your
Yes,
screen time.
exactly. You need to reduce your screen
Your
time
screen
because
time.
it wouldn't help your mind. You get headaches. I know sometimes people
Mm-hmm.
are just like, oh, I'm always having a headache. Always having, it's the
Mm-hmm.
amount of time. You
Mm-hmm.
off your phone, you go to work, on your way to work, you're on your phone. By the time you get to work on your laptop, when you're on your break, you're on your phone. When you now leave, you're on your way home, you're on your phone. When you get back home
When you
from
get
you
home,
open up your
Netflix.
phone. Yes, your
Mm-hmm.
Netflix to watch on your and then you sleep off without seeing
Yeah.
phone. So have a
Fun.
habit where for 1 hour during your daily life, you don't press your phone, you don't
Mm-hmm.
touch it, you're not texting, just plug your phone, leave it, let it charge. Remove all devices from your environment. Remove your earphones from your ear. Remove
Mm-hmm.
the phone from your eyes. Let your senses have a time to just rest and not be so stimulated. So
Mm-hmm.
rest and sleep. The third is exercise. Oof, exercise.
Very
Exercise
important.
is such a good stress reliever. You work out, you get your dopamine, you feel good. You work out, you get strength in your body, you feel good. I was saying my friend recently, like I think it was like 2 days ago, we
Yeah.
went out, we parked the car, and then I just climbed out of the car. I said, wow, girl, I didn't have to hold, that thing I hold in your car where you're just like, let's it lift you up, or that lifting up with that 30 plus that.
Yeah.
Mm, mm. I did not do that. I just used one leg, stepped out, and
Bro, you
lifted
need to
myself.
hit the gym. Start
Honestly,
skipping.
I was
Start
like,
running.
honestly, working out exercise is not
It's
just
not
about losing weight. There
just
are
your body, it's your mind.
your mind. There are so many benefits to
Mm-hmm.
staying physically active. It
Mm-hmm.
increases your energy levels.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to do things, carry things around, move things. You have more stamina with yourself. Your mind is clear. Your stress levels are reduced. You feel more in tune with your body because you have to pay attention to your body to be able to do your
Mm-hmm.
exercise well. So exercise is such a good mood reliever, is such a good confidence booster. When you're able to walk well and you feel strong in your body, you feel confident. So
Confident.
sleep,
Mm-hmm.
rest, exercise, eat well. Make sure that the food you're eating is food that is good for you. Put vegetables in your food. Drink a lot of water.
Water.
Sometimes the problem you're having, the headache, is that you have not drank water. The
Water.
issue you're having
Mm-hmm.
is that your
Mm-hmm.
stomach is not, you're not giving your body the nutrients it
It
needs for you
is.
to be able to do the things you need to do. Eating Gary every day is not a healthy diet. Having
Or
swallow
eating
every day
chocolates and
every
junk.
time, or is it gala, all this
Mm-hmm.
processed food all
Mm-hmm.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not for the sake of, dieting to lose weight. No, but it's for your mental health because
Mm-hmm.
all the vitamins you get, they help your brain to process the thoughts that you're having. Which is why when
Exactly.
kids are growing up, they tell you have to feed them a balanced diet. You need to make sure this is present so they can grow healthy and tall and
Mm-hmm.
have a good clear mind. The same thing applies to adults.
Mm-hmm.
The diet is so, so, so important. I
Important.
remember reading
Mm-hmm.
this article about this research that was done in a prison where they gave a bunch of prisoners the normal prison diet and then
Mm-hmm.
gave a bunch of other prisoners a healthy diet with vegetables. And what they noticed was that the ones that had the vegetables and had a healthier, balanced diet had a lesser propensity to violence compared to the
Mm-hmm.
ones that gave the
Wow.
balanced diet too, which
Wow.
shows that there is a connection between your mind
And
and your body. What you
which
eat
exactly.
exactly
Mm-hmm.
affects you. And a simple way you can tell that is when you're anxious, where do you feel it? You feel it in your stomach. When you're anxious, you're like, I feel sick, I feel like vomiting, I feel nauseous. It's not as if you've eaten anything, or it's just an emotional experience that your body is having a physical reaction to. So the same thing
Exactly.
applies that whatever you put into your body is going to affect your mind. So sleep
Mm-hmm.
well, rest
Mm-hmm.
well, eat well,
Mm-hmm.
exercise. See, yeah, there's
Awesome.
now the part where you do your own private habits of you're gonna journal, you're gonna talk to your
Mm-hmm.
friends, you're gonna have build healthier, boundaries with yourself.
Boundaries.
Those they
Mm-hmm.
are very important. But I assure you that if you're able to do these habits of sleeping well and eating well and rest, that's a very good
Starting
starting point. It's a
point.
really good
Exactly.
starting point. So once you're
Exactly.
doing that, then you can add the practices of every week, pick out your pen and paper or your phone
Mm-hmm.
and write about your thoughts. How was this
Mm-hmm.
week? How am I
Mm-hmm.
feeling? How are my
Mm-hmm.
friendships? What did I learn?
Mm-hmm.
What did I
Mm-hmm.
dislike? What did I not like?
Mm-hmm.
Pour out your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. Don't keep them all in your mind. Catch up with
Mm-hmm.
your friends. Your friends,
Mm-hmm.
talk to them about what's going on with you. Seek
Mm-hmm.
support from your support system. And sometimes, take yourself out of the
Yeah.
environment you're in, change the space you're in. Which
Mm-hmm.
is why I said, if
Mm-hmm.
you live and work in Lagos, sometimes leave the city. Be around nature, be around plants, so that they can remind you to move at the pace of the earth. So you're not just always rushing, moving with a sense of unnecessary urgency, which is what
Mm-hmm.
characterizes me. But everybody's always running, 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 running to nowhere, to literally nowhere. So you need to be in places that cause you to be still in both your body and in your mind. These very simple things, practicing them consistently would have such a significant effect on your life, I
Impact.
assure you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do agree with you. And I think spending time with yourself is very important
Yeah.
because a lot of people do not know how to spend time with themselves. And sometimes we
Mm-hmm.
absorb too much. There's sometimes I don't go to church. I'm not a religious person. I go to church often, but sometimes I just say, you know what, today I'm going to stay at home and read my Bible and think and meditate
Yep.
because I don't want to start listening to everything that the pastor says all the time. Some people just
Mm-hmm.
digest and digest and digest. At what time or at what point do you process everything that you have digested?
Yep.
Every day you wake up, you listen to someone, you're going to work, you're listening to someone, you wake up, you go, and then at what point is that someone
Going to
ministering to
digest.
you? At
Exactly.
what time is it digested? So sometimes I just say, you know what, I'm not going to church today. I'm staying at home and I'm going to spend time with myself. And I realize
Mm-hmm.
that in those moments when I spend time with myself, that's when I actually like experience a lot of change. That's
Yep.
when I actually experience profound change because I'm hearing myself think, I'm writing down my thoughts, I'm
Mm-hmm.
processing my feelings. And,
Mm-hmm.
and what I do, I go back to read my journals. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
write something, what I wrote in everything I wrote in January, at the beginning of February, I went back to read
Wow.
everything because it helps me to keep, yeah, I do that.
Nice.
I go back to read everything because it helps me keep track of my thoughts, of my growth. Okay, what did I say I would do that I've not done? How am I showing up
Mm-hmm.
for myself? It's very important. I realize that one of the things that we struggle with is being by ourselves, being in that moment of stillness. Because, like you said, we're always running, running, running.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, where are you really running to? So
True.
yeah, thank you very much for this amazing session.
You're
So I just wanted to
welcome.
share, like, if I want to book a therapy session at
Session.
TGD, yes, exactly. How do you guys offer packages for corporate? Do you offer packages for individual? And
Yeah.
also, I know that you guys always have like one or two events that you're doing, upcoming
Yes.
events that you might want to share with us, please.
Yeah.
The
Okay,
floor
so
is
I've
yours.
left our website in the chat box. That's
Okay.
www.indie.me.
Yeah,
You
I
can
see
always
it.
click on yeah, you can always click on it to find out about the range of services that we offer. We
Okay.
don't have a specific package for entrepreneurs, but this now that you've mentioned it, I'm like, this is
Mm-hmm.
definitely something that we
Yeah.
should think about developing because there are
Mm-hmm.
people with unique situations and also unique financial capacities that we
Capacity,
need
yeah.
to achieve. But we do have packages for students, for core members, and then for individuals and also
Mm-hmm.
for professional artists as well. So you
Yeah.
can always take advantage of them because they all come at different discounted prices.
Practice.
And you can then go ahead to book a session on our website. Yeah.
Great. That's awesome. I'm very excited about this. And
Yeah.
yes, I do think that you should create something for entrepreneurs,
I will.
something that
I
they can
will.
also use for their staff
Yeah.
as well. Because, entrepreneurs get left out in a lot of things. Some
Mm-hmm.
of them, their staff don't have pension, they don't have
Yes.
HMOs, they don't have, and for
Yes.
you to scale up as an entrepreneur, you need a lot of these subsidized
Yes.
services.
Everything.
So, yeah.
True. We do
Mm-hmm.
have packages for we call it it's called an EAP, the Employee Assistance Program, where we offer
Okay.
like unique services. We can have either write like monthly newsletters for your team. We can have one-on-one
Mm-hmm.
sessions for your team. We can
Mm-hmm.
have mental health clearance for your team. We can do mental health
Yeah.
screening for your team. So it depends on what your company can
Kind of
afford on a regular
for
basis. So if
yeah.
you are interested in that, all you just have to do is send us an email. We'll send
Mm-hmm.
you the brochure of you can even just go on our website. Our
Mm-hmm.
EAP link is there. You can see our brochure of the services we offer for EAP clients and, then reach out to us and we can custom design one for you that is based on